Shepherding Chaos, the Retail247 podcast. Embracing change in the world of retail tech.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Shepherding Chaos from Retail247. It's been a while, so I apologise to our listener, and I'm joined by a couple of guests this morning. We've got Vishal, Shah and Steve Smart from PMC. Perhaps we could start with a quick intro from both of you.
Sure. I'm Steve Smart. I'm Professional Services Director at PMC. Been with the company 13 years. Kind of look after everything transformation from project management, change management, business analysis in the UK through to overseeing engineering, although that's Vishal's world now, and then testing services. So everything where our customers are making change.
Excellent.
All right. Hi, nice to be here. I'm Vishal Shah, Engineering Director, PMC. Been with company good part of 16 years now and look after engineering from pre-sales to the deployments pretty much.
Excellent, thank you. And thanks for joining us. I think today we're going to see where the conversation goes, but primarily we're going to start talking about your offshore. Did we call it offshore?
Well, no, we banned remote offshore.
I thought we did, yeah. So a remote. Your
India-based
remote team facility, yeah. But and primarily just to set context, we at Retail247 use you very much for a team extension where we wanted to expand quickly, and we've taken on some of your skilled resource out in India for supplementing our team. We'll come on to that later, but we very much consider them as part of our team as well, so that's worked well for us.
True.
I guess let's start with, I'm going to say offshoring again, remote teams again. I, in my career, have tried offshoring a couple of times, so I'm going to stick to offshoring, it's just going to be easier.
Okay.
And when I was at Harvey Nichols, we employed an agency and we used that resource offshore. And I've been historically disappointed with the quality. Now that's not the case for now, just to make it clear, and we'll come back to that. But how have you built an offshore capability that addresses those concerns, perhaps historically, of quality and culture?
I think if you look back, lots of people have used offshore
Right.
in the traditional sense of, the old-fashioned sense of offshoring, where they thought they could just give a problem to another country. And for us, that just doesn't work. We're a company of 500 people now across 2 locations. We're a UK-based company that happens to have an Indian office.
Yep.
And, we treat everybody the same in both offices, and we expect the same for our people and our colleagues with our customers, regardless of which country we're in. So, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit more later on, but the augmentation with customers and making them feel part of your team and making them part of your delivery, and that success is your success, is really important to us and the team.
Good line, Steve. Yeah. Michelle?
Well, I guess the throwing over the fence has not been our DNA, right? With our UK office where people like me, Steve, and some of the other heads of operate, I think we are very well connected to the teams in India, wherein compared to probably previous models I have operated, is pretty much the customer and someone from India, and there's no proper conduit of things, right? Which is where things start to go wrong. So I think our UK presence is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And that allows us to make sure the relationship with likes of you and the other customers go through proper channels and don't fall into cracks,
If I go back to my experience, though, the channels were fine, the UK presence was fine, and almost the definition stage was fine. When it came to what I actually got back from the team, it was poor. Now that's either a reflection of their capability, and this is a few years ago, and I know things have moved on, to the point where we were arguing about the spec hadn't said the system had to work quickly. Okay, but there are certain expectations. But also, I think I found the process of talking directly slightly frustrating, and in that they weren't necessarily empowered to challenge me, and obviously, and I like to work in that way. But you seem to have built a team that does 2 things: is happy to challenge, and that's a good thing.
Sure.
But also very much important to me is domain expertise, and so you've built a retail empathic group of people that seem to be able to know context. Is that fair?
It is. I mean, I can't say it's a USP, but I do think it's a really strong part of what we are as a business of understanding the domain you're working in. If you're going to offshore project services to one of the big guys, you're going to get a bunch of people to do some work, and they're not particularly going to understand your business, your products, the way that you operate. So just starting with the pure domain expertise is critical to what is a SKU, what's a promotion.
Yeah.
And then being able to, and Vishal has got to take all the credit for this, of creating a culture to challenge technically, but not just to say no, but to say, actually, have you considered?
Yeah, have you thought about it?
And I think that's really valued by our customers. I know John appreciates that a lot with the team of the, well, maybe a little bit.
Only if he found his carry box.
Yeah. We'll touch on him later. And that's absolutely my experience, and it's not necessarily just an offshore thing. It's a general thing about development today. I think we are much more productive where people can actually do that and can challenge and understand context. As I've said before, it's about the user story can never be detailed enough. Therefore, people have to be able to fill in the gaps mentally to achieve the best result. I think, and I think certainly my experience with you today has been very positive.
We like to think that they clear up any assumptions before they start to write code. And Vishal always tells me off for talking about test-driven development, because I'm not sure whether we're truly that, but we do think about quality as well as productivity. Those are the two key measures for all of our services. So it's no good just churning out lots of activity.
At some point in this chat, I'm going to say when I was a developer.
I can say the same when I was. Mine was a long time ago.
So was mine. But I didn't have a test team, did you, Steve?
No, I didn't.
No, you just wrote code that worked,
I was trusted to deliver good quality code.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's also about the safe environment we have within the team. So the way our team works with some of your team over here is a safe environment where even if they make a challenge or raise a question, it's not seen as any criticism. It's probably more as a welcome, as a feedback. And I think that is kind of a good vicious cycle, which kind of creates more conversations and the better outcomes.
Yeah, was that a cultural thing, a cultural hurdle you had to get past, or was that just the way of the world?
It is a bit of cultural thing as well, right? Because we all have different upbringings as well, right? Questioning is very different in this context and this country versus back home. But I think it's rapidly changing. These newer generations are more bullish, right? And they probably
look at the
want
monster
to say,
we're creating. So,
And I quite enjoy working with some of them. They kind of, whether it's a director or whether it's a developer they talk to, they're always having the opinion on their sleeves they want to put on the table.
No, absolutely.
We put a lot of time and energy into that. It's not just what Vishal and the technical leaders are doing. It's what our HR team are doing, our finance team are doing, of embedding a culture where it's okay to challenge. And if you see that at all levels, then, we took on 17 new interns a couple of weeks ago. They're instantly seeing it's okay to challenge and ask questions. Actually, they bring a lot of the answers today as well.
I may get into sort of stereotypes very quickly. I do remember when I went over there with one of the operations we tried, the male-female divide was quite interesting as well. There was very much two women on the team who, looked for permission to speak almost, and that was wrong as well. That was
that's probably gone. It's behind us now.
Well, at least your leadership team.
Leadership team has good portion of women, right? In fairness, we got this women around you as a forum, which is looking after the women in tech kind of thing. Because women in tech is more than just an India subject, I guess.
We were lucky to be out there a couple of weeks ago for our annual company event, and we ran a session in the afternoon where a number of the girls came on stage and talked, and some of them had been with us 10, 12 years. Some had just come back from maternity, but actually what they said, it's not about their gender, it's about their capability, and that's just great to hear, because they've got past.
Well, I'm not sure you
that
should call
stage.
them the girls, Steve.
The girls, the ladies, women, I mix.
That's a good question, actually.
It was just a lasting memory of a glance to the side to seek permission to speak, and it was just wrong. And again, it was a few years ago, many years ago. So I'm hoping things have changed, for the better en masse. But certainly within your organisation, they don't. There doesn't appear to be an issue. Let's just sidestep briefly, because obviously you do more than the offshore model. What else do you get up to?
Everything from front-end consulting. So we've got an extremely strong retail consulting team that are out helping our customers make great decisions, make informed decisions, I guess. So we've got a lot of experience in the team, both from a functional and a technical perspective. So we're helping customers choose the right IT strategy, the right products, and then the right partners for the outcome of what their business requirement is. And you've been doing this long enough to know them. They don't always know exactly what they want, so we try and take them through that journey of
That's
making good
mantra I
decisions.
have to use. You can use it as they don't want to know what they want until they see what they can have.
Yes.
It's something I sort of
Yeah.
coin a phrase quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to acknowledge that rather than try and tie them down. A fundamental flaw of a waterfall process is tying down a spec. Because unless you're the expert, they're going to change their mind. And I think the better you are acknowledging the change of mind, the better the process is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we've got a great strong team there. We've got the transform team that sits with myself and Vishal, whether that's designing, developing, testing, deploying, and then we've got a strong managed services team that provides 24/7 support fully across the year. And I think it's one of our advantages, I guess. We do that advise, transform, and run capability for our customers. So I think that's what it says on our marketing material. But
Cool,
actually,
modern
we do
statement.
live that.
Yeah.
It is true about us.
Nicely connects things, isn't it?
It does.
That advice, transform, run.
And in terms of your development side, Vishal, obviously you help us build. You provided resource to help us build our product. So we have our Archean solution for stock management, and the Origin solution as a product platform, and that's going well. And the model we use with you is an extension to our team. As I said earlier, we very much treat them as part of our team, but I guess you do other things as well.
Yeah, so we got this your team in our office, which is what you guys have, but we also do a lot of projects, which is more like an outcome base.
Yep.
So you got the definition and you need a work package as an outcome, but the onus of planning, preparing, designing, developing is on us. So we do a lot of project works as well with the retailers, whether it's a B2B, B2C. And lately we are getting into a lot of more tech consultation as well, whether it's in the area of data, integrations, cloud. So that's a bit of more of like a R&D, POC side of world, not just doing, but probably more defining what needs to be done.
Okay. Yeah. I think, just, as you said that, I thought of something. We've, I think, collectively mentioned a few things over the last few months and year of working together. I like to think of our tech stack as quite modern and quite, let's go with leading edge, but I'm not sure that's the case. But it's certainly quite modern. Does that help with retention at your end? Because I mean, the eternal problem of retention generally, UK or wherever, is challenging. With a growing Indian economy, I imagine that's a challenge for you too.
Yeah, it does definitely contribute to it. So some of the things which serverless that you have on your products and adoption of cloud is really strong thing, right? A lot of retailers are still on legacy platforms, and incentivizing people with that learning is difficult versus something like your products, which are more advanced, I would say, in a tech adaptation.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my view. Yeah.
And it does help with retention in that respect, because there are more of those skills about. But actually, the legacy stuff's still really important to us.
Oh, no, in terms of the commercial model, absolutely, I get that, yeah.
Name me a retailer that hasn't got some legacy.
No, yeah,
right? So for me, it's always a great conversation to have if we can do the new stuff. And where we like to get is, how do we take your legacy on a roadmap through to more modern architecture?
Yeah.
Because that's where every retailer really wants to be.
There's always the next shiny thing for most retailers, isn't there?
Yeah. Nobody really wants to be bleeding edge, do they? But you want to have some
unless there's a
smart technology
to be had.
I think you mentioned some of the conversation about why PMC in India or Vadodara, right? I mean, when Paul started this organization, could have gone to many places, but I think he settled down to be in Vadodara, and I think we get that from our conversation. You could be in a Bangalore or Pune, which is a great places, but the competition is there, bit of cutthroat over there. Right? The Vadodara is much more tier 2 place, right? And I think that's where we kind of win, right? Our attrition is well under control, and the quality of people is strong because of the institution around it. I think that's probably differentiators as well. Of course, the bigger city comes with the bigger advantages, right? The availability of pool is massive,
resource,
but it comes with its own knock-on impact as well, which is...
So we've got a team of 4 dev and 1 test, so we're sort of small but growing. That's been consistent, and we've not changed or lost anybody. Is that unusual, or is that about right?
That's
it's a good thing.
That's a good thing, right? And I think if you get 18 months of stability, you're winning, is my view, right? If you get 5 years of stability, people are complacent, is also a view, right?
Okay. Yep.
So I think we got good stability in the team, and I think it's like a your team working equally collaboratively, giving that confidence to the team in PMC.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing in my opinion.
It is, and just to your point about 5 years is a bad thing. My only slight challenge there would be that because of the complexity of both the tech architecture, but also our solution in terms of its design and its evolution. The ramp up time or the understanding of context is quite difficult to maintain if we're going to start swapping people out quickly. So it's got to find a balance somewhere, I guess. Yeah,
it is, especially when you're working on products because they're unique to you. It's not like we can train them from another customer. They've got to know your product, and that product knowledge helps both productivity and quality. But I like to think in the team size you've got, as we rotate with interns, graduates coming through, actually you getting access to them, trusting them to be able to work their way through the teams, because other people will want to move into other technology or other customers, but that's okay because you take it as a service. Surely not.
Although we do, I think, again, you mentioned the other day that we have our PMC team also on our website as part of our team. And that's,
I think that's
well,
massive.
Which I hadn't even thought about before.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges I have when I go to India is actually I see the teams almost represent the customer as strongly as PMC, which is actually really nice to see. I see people introducing themselves with the customer name when I meet them. I'm working on.
Yeah, nice.
And that's really good. But actually you embracing that and making them feel part of your team, you'll get more out of them. Because that's what you've done with your own team.
Yeah.
I think if you treat the team as an extension, augmentation of your team, you'll get more from them.
Yeah. And it wasn't done with that in mind. It just seems like a nice thing to do, really. I think it's your answer, but if it's got benefit, great.
Yeah.
That's very positive and inclusive step, isn't it? You don't treat it as a contractor's mindset or mentality.
Yes. But that goes to some of the earlier points, sorry to interrupt, around giving them the authority to challenge almost. If they feel part of the team, they're going to feel comfortable doing so.
Yes. And also part of the success as well, right? When you guys are delivering stuff out to your customers and talking about it. And I talk about this a lot with new people into our business, because if we were in one of the big cities, they'd probably be wanting to go and work for Google or Microsoft, heaven forbid. But actually, the team working for you are delivering real world solutions and can put their name and take some pride from it. And for us, that's really important.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to bang on our own drum for a second, we've got a number of brands, well-known brands, using our solution, and you've been a massive contribution to that success. Cool. The other thing I was going to mention, you do a lot for your local community as well. I think you've built a reputation for PMC as part of the locale.
Yeah, so in India, we associated with what we call Archean Trust, which is the school for hearing impaired children. We're there since the day we started in operation in 2008. So that's from our day one, month one association. And that school has gone from strength to strength. And our support to them also been fantastic all these years. I think UK also we have association with Adoption.
With Adoption UK.
From UK, yeah.
Okay.
So, and in fairness, I think the milestone was a couple of years ago where a couple of Archean Trust who passed out their 10th, which is equivalent to like a year GCSE years here, they were employed by us at some stage in maybe a bit of a more back office HR function or some of the other functional team, and that gave a bit of boost to the rest of the team, because when those students go and talk to the other children in the school, that I work in an environment which is more like a corporate, that's a massive booster for the other students in the school.
Absolutely, I mean, you're really proud of what the team do there with the Archean Trust, and I know it was close to Paul Mason's heart with both of the charities that we support, but Archean Trust is one of those really humbling visits when you see the children, because they won't turn any child away that's hearing impaired. But actually, I think we've got about 7-8 people from Archean Trust work across
just about that,
PMC India, whether they're testers working in finance as accountants, but they all earn the right for a job, which is really important.
No, perfect. I think I'm quite a believer in local, charity type stuff, and not to the same scale that you do, but I think if you can see direct influence and obviously it is good for your reputation too, but it's just also the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do, and we've got some great colleagues from the Archean Trust work for us that are just super confident at the job that they do, which is great to see.
What's next for you out there? Anything on the horizon?
Well, we've got a new office that's being built at the moment that will house between 800 and 1,000 people.
Wow.
So that's due to be ready September, October.
Yeah, just after summer. Yeah.
What do you know about 400?
We're 500 as a business, 400 in India.
That's quite a big step forward then, big expansion. Yes,
big investment, but big confidence in what we do for our customer base and for our future customers. And that's our challenge, is to, people talk about PMC as the best kept secret in retail, but we've got to make sure that
It's
isn't
Simon,
the
it's that
case.
Simon's catchphrase. He's used that
Probably.
before.
Yeah.
Stop using that, Simon.
Is it Simon, or is it his excuse?
It's just...
But no, we do. We need to get more known, and we're invested in the UK. We've got a new head of international sales, a new head of D2C sales. We know that there's a marketplace for us that actually will create the partnerships with future customers and fill those seats in India.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, just from our perspective, obviously, I guess, as I've said, we're happy with the process so far. Our Origin and Archean products that have come to market and are widely used by well-known brands has gone well. And we intend to continue that journey. So, I love having a UK team. I like to have that touch point with people there, but also the expansion and capability that you've brought to the table has been invaluable. So, I can see us expanding with you. And now I know you've got new office space, then the world's there. That's
Yeah.
Space to expand, yeah.
But we've talked in the past about access to cost-effective resources, but actually it's now access to the right resources with the right skills.
Maybe 10 years
It
ago,
happens
maybe
to be
that's why.
cost-effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's probably where I had a problem 10 years ago. It was about cost, and it's just not. Well, no, it's not about cost at all. In fact, relatively, it's the only cost it's about is about avoiding new recruitment fees. If I was brutally honest, so that the appeal of a pool of resource that can tap into a bigger pool of resource that is managed on my behalf in terms of retention and succession is very appealing to the likes of me, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, there is an element. I mean, I guess 10, 15 years ago when people were offshoring, it was trying to pass off a problem. And we know that just doesn't work. You can't just give a problem to someone else and it will fix it. Where we are now is trying to help you not have to worry about resourcing, recruitment, retention, all of those things. Actually, you take it as a service.
Yeah.
And that's our problem. And
blend.
we've got a team behind us that do all of that for us, which is great.
Okay.
It's interesting that, the cost is very much like it's changing, right? If you have a SaaS-based solution, your majority cost is your infrastructure. That's in dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the teams which is in, let's say INR if it's in India, and you got a UK thing. It's very difficult to say the cost is the only reason to move.
No,
I think people are saying relevance and the quality, right?
Yeah. No, yes, it's a completely different experience for me in terms of how I've tried it before. For all the things I've mentioned already, the challenge, the quality, and just the ways of working have been a pleasure. So I guess what would you? We probably already said all this, but what would you, if you were talking about why people should go with PMC, what would you say?
You mean for the future employees or probably more prospect customers' perspective?
Good question. Both. Let's do both.
Well, from employees' perspective, I think our niche space where we operate, right? I think it's fantastic. I've been in retail for a long time. I think you want to get deep into something in the retail and commerce, that's the place where we are. I don't think there are many competition probably in that niche space we have.
Yeah.
So from employee perspective, it's a great experience, rewarding career. From customer perspective, is there having that sea change in the experience which you had witnessed? And I think seeing is believing it, right? So I think going with that bit of leap of faith and saying this is going to work, right?
Yeah.
Because you start with that negative perspective, it's going to be hard to turn it around. So from customer perspective, trusting that we have done it, right? That's not the first rodeo for us.
Yep.
And we have done it, we have proved it, we got case studies, and we can do it for more customers as well.
Perfect.
I think the initial barrier is a challenge in some cases, as you rightly said.
It is breaking down that offshore mentality versus an extension of my team. And, we've got customers in the UK like yourself. We've got customers right through from LA, Kansas, right through to Australia. So actually, it doesn't matter where the engineering team is. If you engage with them properly and get the most from them.
I think I'd forgotten about that bit. Historically, I worried about people being remote. But obviously, post-pandemic, everybody's remote.
Yes.
Even my UK dev team, I see rarely because they're happy at home. So that's also perhaps a mindset that's shifted slightly.
Yeah, it's the only good thing that's come out of COVID, isn't it? Which is people realise IT can be delivered remotely, but for us, there's still a real place for the office.
Yeah,
So,
and actually yours is probably a blend of both because you got quite a lot of office presence, haven't you? And I think that's important to get those ideas bouncing around and be able to work as a team rather than a collection of individuals.
And again, in offices in Vadodara or India has been typically more buzzing than you would imagine.
It's a great place to be, isn't it? When the office is full, it's a great stage. So we like most people, we're running a hybrid. So we like the people to be in 3 days a week. They like to do that 3 days in a row to get some consistency. But
I smile as I visualise my team doing a song and dance routine to your team en masse when they went out to
They
visit.
had a good show.
Yeah.
PMC got talent.
you are the only customer that's turned up and performed.
Yeah. I won't be doing that just to set your expectation.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
no, it is cultural for them, and it's embraced as well. But it does make people. And I thought that the feedback from the team, from your team's visit, was great.
Yeah.
You must show them the Christmas video that's just been shot, which features John quite heavily in an elf costume. But we'll come on to that later.
Yeah. Is he the tallest elf ever?
That's part of the plot. Yeah, I was sceptical, but it is quite funny. Whether it'll sell anything, who knows? I'm looking at Lucy, our marketing person over there. Marketing manager, sorry, I couldn't think of the word. The other thing that where we sort of do, not really collectively but independently, a type of event, getting our customers involved in activities. We had an offline chat about the sort of stuff we do into team then, but you've got an event coming up next week. You've got some customers and some speakers there.
Yeah, interesting event down at Silverstone next Tuesday, actually, with a good selection of customers and a good selection of speakers coming along to talk about retail and commerce. And I think you're there. You're coming along.
I am indeed. Yeah.
Had some interesting topics from Nick, who ran ASOS, through to some of our customers talking about some of the things we did. So
do you just back to involving the team in its widest sense? Do you? I know they don't come over for it, but do you record the events? Do you get them? Do you get to see these things? Do you involve them from your perspective?
Yeah, some of those. I mean, there'll be some interviews.
Well,
possibly. I'll speak to our marketing team about that. So I know that they record lots of bits. There'll be some videos and blogs.
I just goes to that context piece, isn't it? If you get speakers, and particularly customer speakers, talking about retail, it'd be good to share that with the wider audience.
Yeah. Yes,
there'll be some playbacks in that all hands calls, etc.
Yep.
But
we're actually a really strong business at internal communication. So
I've seen some of that.
Bi-monthly, all hands calls for the company, and then bi-monthly the other month doing department updates. So we try and share stuff that's really relevant and keep them informed, because a company of our size, and as we get bigger, it's really hard to showcase all the great stuff you do.
Yeah, and hard, as we said earlier, post pandemic, where you haven't got we haven't a regular in the office presence 5 days a week, then it's important to keep people involved. We've got a games night tonight, which who knows how that'll turn out, but I'm sure alcohol will be involved.
We all good then.
Yeah, games. Yeah. So we obviously do sort of try and do client-focused events as well, and addressing retail issues. But I think it's equally important to have a bit of fun. So we do a twice a year pure drinks event, really, and deliberately say no slides, no selling. So
no sales talk.
If you've not been to that, you should join us.
Sounds good for me.
Yeah, well, I think it started off when we started forming the business, and it was the clients we had at the time. So there's about 5 of us in the pub. The last one we had, there was about 100 people, and we had a band, and it was all good. Yeah. So I think we've got a date set aside now, 6th of February, I think, is our next one coming up. So bear that in mind.
Okay.
Well,
it's always good to get your customers together and hear what they've got to say about you, isn't it? So you have to hear it,
good,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
but it's good to get that feedback, because you can do more with it. And I think, some of the companies do big annual conferences, but actually I think getting people together over a couple of drinks and hear the honest.
The problem is, if I'm being brutal, the problem is getting people in who know something well enough to speak interestingly about it is one part of the battle, but getting people who can speak well, regardless of the subject matter, is also part of the battle. So finding somebody who can speak well about something that's interesting is really hard.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have any forums where your customers get together on product roadmap that help you?
No, good question. We have discussed this, and we haven't done so far, but we intend to. The question is, are you there, is the question.
No, we don't, because we're not a product company, I guess.
Of course.
We have a platform which is
product
helping our customers, deliver outcomes. But, I think for product companies, it's really important to listen to them, because we shouldn't just assume that the product owner knows everything of where.
So you'd go for being there rather than it being independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think I agree. Then we'll get something organised in 2025.
I think it's just, for me, you want to create a product roadmap that's got input from all sides: customer, technical, non-technical
partners.
Cool. That's probably what I had to say on the subject. I mean, anything you want to add in terms of how you work with us or the solutions that we have, or anything for the future?
No, I think what's been also useful is just getting to know a bit more about your products as well.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that want to work with PMC because they think it gives them access to our customers, but it doesn't, because we're independent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But actually, if there is a natural fit, then it's great to know more about it, whether it's me and the engineering team or whether it's our consultants know more about your products and where they can help customers. And we've got joint customers as well, and it works extremely well. So
we have.
I think it's all about partnering for us. And I know you did a previous podcast on this where you were talking about partnering, but that's where we see ourselves. We're a partner. We are not. I've listened to a few. I do a bit of walking occasionally and put them on just to keep me going.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's about partnership for us.
Yeah,
So.
and mutual benefit. I mean, I to your point of independence and integrity, absolutely, because I know you do some selection of software, and obviously there's potential conflict of interest there, but you do keep the two separately, which is good. But equally, as you say, we have shared customers, in Crew, where we have our solutions that are pre-integrated to yours, your platform rather than solution. I must get that right. But yeah, that's working well from our perspective too.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess from my perspective, it's a commitment your team has shown, right? Coming to India is not a due diligence; it's a commitment to make it work.
Yep.
Right. Putting our people on your website, it's not just a gesture; it's the commitment to say we treat you inclusive. I think that's probably very differentiated from what I have seen, right? Because it's like an investment of time and effort that pays you back the dividends in your team, right?
And thanks for that. And the only response is it wasn't an effort. It's just the right
maybe
thing
it's not deliberate, but it just happened to happen the way. But it's still giving a good benefits, and those small acts put together, I think, continues to pay that dividend. Is my
but it's you go right back to your first question. It's the only way to prove that it's not offshore.
Yeah,
is to be part of it, and for every customer that's been to the office in India, have a better relationship with their team and probably get more productivity and more quality because they feel included.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Okay, well, thanks for joining me today, and right, let's continue our journey together.
Yeah, it's been great to catch up.
Nice to be here.